Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Chug Nerd YouTube channel. Today we're going to be checking out this, my Victory VX, the Kraken Mark 1 50 watt guitar amplifier. Let's check it out. Please allow me a moment just to introduce myself real quick. My name is DJ, I'm a guitarist from the southwest of the UK. I've been a guitarist for around about 20 years, and the thing I enjoy most about the guitar isn't the widdly kind of stuff. I'm just a rhythm, chug kind of guitarist. As the name of this YouTube channel suggests, I just enjoy the dirty, disgusting noises that we can make with nice low-tuned guitars. That's what this channel is all about. So that's the main thing that you'll hear, but we do explore other sounds along the way as well. Anyway, I'm going off track. Let's get back and focus on what we're here to look at today. Just before we go any further, I wanted to let you know that this is not a sponsored video of any kind. No one is paying me to do this video. This amp is my amp that I paid for with my own money, so all thoughts and all opinions are my own. If you have a differing thought or a differing opinion, please feel free to get it in the comments below. We'll have a conversation and talk all things Victory, Kraken and chugs. This amplifier is currently the only amplifier that I own. I don't own any practice amps. I only own this one amplifier, which I use for rehearsals, live performances in my band, HollowKin. Check us out. And all of our recording and studio work. This is the one amplifier that gives me all the sounds that I need. I'm not much of a option paralysis, continuing to deep dive for tones kind of person. I'm more of a set and forget kind of person. So the limitations of this amp actually kind of play quite well into the way that I like to play and find tones. Around about 2 years ago, I, along with most of the world, discovered the fun that you can have with plugins. And at that point, I kind of sold most of my other kind of practice amps. I had Katanas, I had Black Star amplifiers, I had a Yamaha THR, which was amazing. But I got rid of them all because I just didn't use them anymore. I just kind of run everything through my Soldano SLO Neural DSP plugin. That's where most of the tones that you'll hear through this channel come from when it comes to guitar demos. For this video, however, there are no plugins. Everything you're going to hear is going to be coming through the Kraken. Now my setup is going to run like this. This is my live setup and my studio setup. So it's going to be running straight from the Kraken into my orange 4x12 cabinet. It's going to be coming from 3 different guitars that I use for this demo. We've got my Epiphone Matt Hafey Origins Custom Les Paul. We've got my Solar T 2.7 LN, and we've got my Schecter C7 Silver Mountain. I wanted to choose a guitar that had active pickups, and I wanted to choose a couple of guitars that had varying different output levels of passive pickups. The Schecter being the one with the hottest pickups, because those pickups are crazy hot. You'll hear a few different tones, and you'll notice some continuity with the things that I'm wearing, which will help you highlight which tones are which. So I'm going to share with you some demos that are going to be relatively raw. They're just the guitar straight into the front end of the amplifier, and then there's going to be a couple of other demos where I plug my pedal board in as well, and you're going to hear other time-based effects like my Strymon Big Sky and my TC Electronics flashback delay put into the mix as well. In front of the cabinet, I've got an SE Electronics V7 microphone, and I've also got an SM57. However, you won't hear the 57 in the mix because honestly, I just wasn't that much of a fan of the sound it gave me. So I've just stuck with the SE V7, and that will be consistent across both different videos that you're going to be seeing the demos from. Alright, let's check out some specifications for the Victory Kraken Mark 1 head. So, the Victory Kraken Mark 1 50-watt head has 2 channels. It has 4 12AX7 preamp tubes and it has 2 6L6 power tubes, which are interchangeable with EL34s, but this is the 6L6 version. The controls, you've got a gain 1 channel, a gain 2 channel, bass, middle and treble. There's a master 1 and a master 2. There is also a bass switch on the back of the head, which I'll show in this B-roll, and that takes away some of the low end because this can be quite a dark head. Other things that this head has got, it has an effects loop as you'd expect, and it also includes a lovely little carry bag as well. The amplifier is 50 watts and it's also switchable down to 15, 9 and 2 watts as well. It comes included with a foot switch allowing you to switch between gain 1 and gain 2, and there's also a second foot switch that you can attach which will allow you to alter some other parameters like the effects loop and the master 1 and master 2. When I bought this amplifier it was around about £1,000 from Anderton's in the UK, but at the moment the Mark 1 you can pick up on Thomann for £843 because they have since released the Mark II, so it's a little bit cheaper to get the Mark 1. So what can I say about the Victory Kraken that hasn't been said a million times already? This thing slaps. It only knows how to go hard. This Mark 1 version only has gain channels, gain 1 and gain 2. That's it. Gain 1 has less gain, gain 2 has more gain. I think it's based kind of along the lines of like a 5150, and it definitely delivers in what it's trying to achieve. I use gain 1 channel as a clean channel, so I have it turned real low, about 9 o'clock, so 2.5 on the gain, and that is just under edge of breakup. It's such a responsive amplifier though. If you are playing clean and you kind of go in a bit more aggressive, it knows what to do and it can bring that edge of breakup kind of sound, but then you don't need to do much to pull it back to a really, really clean, chimey kind of sound. So taking a look at channel 2, gain 2 channel, it is an absolute monster. It has more than enough gain on tap for whatever application you could possibly need it for. It is quite a noisy channel, so you're going to want to get a really tight noise gate on it to control it and to tame it, because otherwise you are going to be dealing with a whole world's worth of feedback. But if you can tame it with a decent noise gate, then you're going to be in for a lot of fun. Now personally, I don't use the gain 2 channel all that much. I use gain 1 channel and I throw into it an Empress Effects Heavy Menace. I absolutely adore that pedal. Once I played it, I never wanted to use anything else, and I've just dialed that tone in perfectly for how I want it. It's got its own built-in noise gate, which is super snappy. We'll review that pedal in a future video and come back to the Victory Kraken though. The Kraken Gain Stage 2 I love, but I use it more dialed back and I use it more for kind of open rhythm sections on some of our ever so slightly less aggressive songs. So the positives of this amp are many and varied, and I absolutely adore it. I haven't actually looked for another amp since I started using this amp, and it does everything that I need it to. However, there are probably 2 things that I would say personally I would love to see on this amplifier. They may well be on the Mark II now. I don't think they are, but these would be really helpful things to have built in on the amplifier. Now thing 1 I've kind of already touched on. A built-in noise gate would be superb because it is crazy loud, like I've already mentioned. That would be so handy to have that, just a built-in noise gate like you get on the 5150 Iconics and many other modern amplifiers. I think that would be such a useful thing to have, knowing how loud this amplifier is. The second thing that I think is missing, and it's probably only more for me, but might be relevant for a lot of bands that play live these days, certainly those that are still using analog, but there isn't an emulated line out. So there's no way to take a direct line out of the head and into a mixer. For example, we use in-ear monitors, so there's no way of taking that signal from the head to our in-ear monitors. So we've had to work around that with a Behringer DI box. So we have a DI box sitting between the head and the cab, and then we take an XLR out of that. And that works great. It's a really good workaround. It only costs us about an extra 30 or 40 quid. So it's not a big deal, but it just would have been nice to have had either a headphone out or an emulated out so that we could have used it without having to get more stuff to plug in the signal chain. Now, I believe that the Mark II version has introduced a clean channel. I don't know how necessary that is. Because this amp is designed to scream, I don't know if you're necessarily going to buy it with the intention of not having it scream. So I think it works really well as the Gain 1 and the Gain 2 channels, which is why I've never upgraded to the Mark II. I think they put a presence or resonance dial on it, but again, that's not something I've ever really felt was missing. But perhaps it improves it, perhaps it doesn't. Maybe one day I'll try it and I'll make up my mind for sure. If you've tried the Mark II, let me know. Is it better? Does it improve upon the sound? Does it make it a better experience? The other thing that I wanted to touch on was the high and the low setting. Now, all throughout this video, you're only going to hear it on the high 50 watt full guns blazing setting. I very rarely take it to any lower setting. I just find you lose a lot of snappiness and a lot of the articulation and the color of what you're playing if you take it down to those lower settings. It's really handy if you do need to play quieter at home or whatever. But like I said earlier in the video, I don't really use this amp at home. I use plugins and things at home. So this is just for recording, rehearsing and playing live. So there isn't really an application where I need to take the volume down. But yeah, it's got that function if you want to use it. But me personally, I don't find it that useful, and I don't think you get that same articulation of the notes. The other thing I mentioned earlier on in the video is there's that bass focus switch on the back of the amplifier. Now, I find for the style of music that I play, which is really heavily driven modern metal music, you need that bass focus switch pushed in all the time. It is quite a dark amplifier if you don't have it, and you do run the risk of the signal becoming a little bit muddy if you don't. I think they did an earlier iteration, like a pre-Mark I of this, and a common complaint on it was that it was too dark. So I think, and I could be wrong, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I think they added that after the fact to the Mark I series, just to clean up some of that low end, to stop it getting so flubby. But it is a really good feature to have, just to cut away all of that low end. If, for example, you're tuned to a low tuning like we tune to drop A, and it just gets really muddy on those palm mute sections if you don't have it selected. So it's a really handy feature to have on the back. I think that's kind of it. I don't think I've really got anything else to add. I absolutely adore this amp. I highly recommend it. And in fact, Bo, who is the other guitarist in HollowKin, he bought a Victory Kraken Mark I based on how much I enjoyed using mine. So it goes without saying that I can highly recommend this amplifier. If you're into metal, into modern metal, or even like hard rock, I think this amplifier is just absolutely perfect. It's not super expensive, but it is super loud. I've gigged and I've toured with this head, and it is fantastic. It sounds so good in a live setting. In fact, story time. we did a festival late last year, and on this festival there was about 9 bands on the bill, all kind of similar kind of genre to us, all kind of modern metal, new metal, that kind of scene. We were the only band on stage that night that was using analog tech. Everyone else had quad cortexes or line 6s or whatever else, head rushes and all the rest of it. I've got absolutely nothing against any of those sorts of things. I've used more, I've used line 6. Like I said, I use plugins for recording. I think digital is fantastic, it's super convenient. However, when we got to the end of the night, we were chatting to the sound technician and he said, and I'm not, this isn't ego talking, but he said, and I quote, "You guys had the best sound of the night because you had real amplifiers pushing real air. Everyone else sounded good, but you sounded great." And I don't mean from a musical perspective, purely from a sound perspective. He said we sounded best, and he attributed that to the fact that we were using real valves, pushing real air through real guitar cabinets and not just through PA speakers. Take from that what you will. Like I said, I've got absolutely nothing against digital tech, but for me, I just don't think you can beat that sound of a real valve amplifier on a stage. I guess I'm old school, and that's okay. I know what I like, and I definitely like the Victory Kraken. Anyway, I think that's going to do for today. If you've got this far on the video, then thank you so much for sticking around. If you could drop a like on the video, I would massively appreciate it, and I would love it if you would subscribe as well and help support and grow this channel with me. I am brand new to YouTube and this is only my 3rd video, so any support and any help is greatly appreciated. Along with that, if you want to drop a comment below, that would be amazing as well. Let me know what you think. Do you like digital? Do you prefer analog? Have you played a Kraken? All the usual stuff that YouTubers ask. Let me know down below in the comments and I will get down there and we'll have a conversation about it and mix it up. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you being here with me today, and I'll catch you again very soon for another video. Take care, you guys. In a bit.